Hey guys, so in this video I quickly want to go over how I practice the drums, my method for sort of improvement and how I get better. Now firstly I'd say this might not work for everyone. Different people have different learning styles obviously, so what works for me might not work for you. But anyway, let's get into it. So firstly I would say that practice has almost always looked the same for me. I've been playing for about 11 years, I took lessons for about 1 to 2 years, and I just couldn't get myself to stick with the sort of the theoretical side of the practice, sheet reading and always like counting and doing the stuff that you probably should do. I just didn't have the patience for it. My drive to practice and play drums was largely due to the music I was listening to. I just wanted to play to the songs that I loved and the bands that I loved. And so I think even early on, that sort of method for practice and improvement just sort of paved its way in that sense. I ended up just always playing to music, practicing to music, and also playing with other musicians helped me improve. I definitely say that because it's a method for sort of self-awareness and realizing where you sit in a musical context. When to overplay, when to sit back and sort of just groove, or when to just completely cut out and not play. So that helps in regards to self-awareness and practicing in a practical way that will translate into live musical situations, assuming that that's sort of the end goal. Unless you just want to practice in your room, then fair enough. But yeah, my method still to this day is I go to the rehearsal room or I practice at home on my electric kit, and I'll just listen to playlists of music that I have, music that I enjoy listening to these days. Again, it's generally hip hop music, and I just improvise. I just flow, and I tend to overplay. Sometimes if I want to focus more on working on my pocket and my groove, then I will just sit in that, but I'm generally overplaying, overreaching, trying to push new ideas that are sort of just coming to me on the spot. I'm just improvising. And when I come across a certain lick or idea that I like, and I feel like, yeah, I need to sort of work it out a little bit, I will just fine tune it and sort of move on. But I don't even really spend a whole lot of time doing that. There's certain staple grooves, I'd say, whether it's say like a shuffle or even a blast beat, whatever it is that I can dedicate some time to. But generally I'll sort of come across an idea, sort of try fine tune it, and then just move on, and then I'll end up coming back to it at some point, maybe that practice session or another practice session with a more improved version, and I sort of just build my vocabulary slowly like that. I wish I did have a more methodical way that I could sort of preach a certain method for improvement, but I don't know. I've just always done it through the ideas that come to me when I'm playing. I suppose another way that I have come about gaining new ideas and learning new licks and phrases is through listening to music, listening to certain melodies and phrasing and certain vocal melodies, whatever it is, rhythms, me trying to replicate that or replicate it in my own way, adding a certain twist to it. That tends to be a large part of my practice as well, now that I think about it. And lastly, just gaining inspiration from watching other drummers. This is something anyone can do, whether you're a sheet reading theoretical type or you're a more intuitive, just go by the feeling type. Just watching videos and watching other drummers play, whether you're sat behind a kit or not, will sort of translate into ideas that you have when you do sit down. So I think that's definitely helped me, because I'm sure many of you have as well, clocked in many hours watching other drummers, so subconsciously I think that does sort of ingrain itself, especially if you do actually try and study those videos instead of just purely out of entertainment purpose. I know I've done that. I have a few staple videos from drummers I love that I've watched repeatedly and still learn from, and try to sort of instantiate certain licks or ideas that they've played into my own playing. So that's just sort of how I go about my practice. It's always been very much driven by my intuition and just improvising and ideas. I don't sheet read or anything like that. I can, but I'm not proficient, and I don't feel that in regards to improvement and practice that would be a more effective way for myself. So again, this is going to differ for most people, but that's just how I like to practice. If you have a different way of practicing, or maybe you practice in the same way, elaborate below in the comments. I love to start discussion around this stuff. I love to hear how other drummers go about their practice routines and sort of their perspectives on this stuff. So yeah, comment below. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't like it, dislike it, and subscribe if you want to see more. I also have daily content on my Instagram, so you can check that out. And until then, I'll see you in the next one.